GT3 and GT4. On the surface, they look pretty similar, but actually they're designed to do two different jobs.
Thanks to this stunning pair of Mercedes-AMG examples, here's how they differ. The GT3 is the ultimate expression of Mercedes-AMG's motorsport engineering. Lightweight, aggressive aero, and that glorious 6.3-litre naturally aspirated V8. This car is built for endurance racing at the highest level. Next to it is the Mercedes-AMG GT4, which shares the same AMG DNA, but is a bit more approachable. It runs a 4-litre bi-turbo V8, it's slightly heavier, less aero-dependent, and it's perfect for gentleman drivers, semi-pros, or anyone getting serious about racing. Think of the Mercedes-AMG GT4 as the gateway into the AMG racing world, and the GT3 as the top tier.
Inside the GT3 car, it's everything you'd expect from a race car at this level, designed to do this kind of racing with the switchgear, the safety systems, and all of the data that you'd love to have racing one of these cars. Meanwhile, inside the GT4 car, it looks very similar, just a little simpler for this level of racing. But the key thing, all the safety systems, the safety cage, the seat, the fire suppression systems are identical, meaning they're both as safe as each other.
Both cars are part of Mercedes-AMG's customer racing program, handcrafted in our Falterback, and from a local perspective, showcase how major brands like Mercedes-AMG are investing in motorsport down under, and not just in Europe or the USA.
Get them together on a racetrack like the Bend, and the lap time difference due to the regulations is about 6 to 8 seconds. But regardless of that, GT3, GT4, both hugely exciting to watch.
Beautifully broken down by our colleague Richard Crowd. They're explaining the difference of the box office cars that you saw in GT4 before, and now the GT3 machines that line up behind us for an hour of racing. So we have more horsepower, more aero. We have some great names too. Jayden Ojeda on pole position, Jackson Evans in the Arise Racing Ferrari beside them. So the pros are starting. I'm with Thomas Randall at the front of the grid, and that is for a reason, because there's been a bulletin published in the lead up to this that we thought we'd kind of outline or cover in some respects. The results from yesterday's 1 hour race are classified as provisional. Ordinarily, if they were signed off and done, we would know the compensation times that would apply to today's race for the top three from yesterday. Just give us a sense of what's happening here.
Yeah, that's correct, Rusty. One thing in the GT World Challenge Australia is that you serve compensation times, what we would normally see for today based off yesterday's results. However, we received an email this morning from the SRO that the results, like you said, are provisional, subject to technical checks as per Article 3.7. So a final result of race one will be delivered after this race, and therefore the results, because they're provisional, in accordance with Article 20.2, the compensation times won't be applied for this race. So there will be no compensation times for any of the cars. So everyone will be serving their pit lane time. It will be the same.
So in some respects, this may come up in conversation when we're doing interviews here on the grid previewing this afternoon's race. The net result, for those of you watching on the coverage at home, it means those top three will all have the same pit stop times today. So it's going to be a heck of a race in that regard, isn't it?
Oh, it is for sure. So it's going to be one to watch. I'm looking forward to see what Ojeda and Lucchini can do. And even our race winner yesterday, Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni, they were so fast. They're going to line up in sixth position. It's going to be one to watch.
Randall and Rust Solicitors. It's got a great name bring to it, doesn't it? Well done there, mate. Let's go to Cam now.
Randall and Rust, I'm worried about those two. They're the ones that tell you there's no fee when they work, those solicitors. But I've got the pole sitters here, Paul Lucchini, and I've got Jayden Ojeda, who will be starting in this race. The boys just off the top were talking about the fact that there is no pit stop penalty, which means, and I'll start with you, Jayden, it's basically a straight dogfight out there and not worrying about positioning or where everyone else has to serve penalties.
Yeah, you'd say GT racing's already as complicated as it is with the pit stop penalties, and then for everyone that gets it, we take the pit stop penalty away and then add it after the race. So, I don't know, maybe by the time we're back in Adelaide, we'll find out who's actually won the race.
Well, Paul, you're going to be jumping back in there, and I guess the strategy is just win by as far as you can, but first, you've got to win the race.
Yeah, that's right. And before, when we had the pit stop penalties in mind, we thought we had a good chance. And but now it's going to be quite tough, and we'll just see how we go.
So let's talk about this car, though. We'll stay on the positives, and the times will work themselves out later, and we'll deal with that later. You've got a jet of a car at your control, Jayden. We were talking before we came into this interview. It's been quick all weekend.
Yeah, between myself and the crew at Scani Motorsport, our Mercedes AMG has been a rocket all weekend. Obviously fastest yesterday in the race and on pole position. So hopefully we can just get through this first corner unscathed, and then hopefully have a good stint, hand over the pole, and see how we end up for the end of the race.
So I guess, Paul, that in this format of Pro-Am style racing, you must be exceptionally happy with where Jaden Ojada's put the car. But for you as well, I mean, you want it handed over in the best possible position, don't you? You'd rather be the hunted than the hunter.
Yeah, that's right, and he's done it quite a few times this year, and it's we're just hoping today. Well, we had a good chance today, but yeah, like I said, we've just got to go out there and go as fast as we can and see what happens.
Yeah, but the balance is still, I mean, he can race whoever he's racing. You've got to race who you're racing. What level of confidence do you have going in with this car in your control that you can beat your competitors?
Oh, look, there's a top 5 runners that are very fast and a lot more experience than myself, so it'll be tough. Yeah.
I think you guys are going to go all right. Good luck today, boys. We're going to go across to Charlie now.
Starting from P2 is Jackson Evans and, of course, Elliot Shute as well. Podium yesterday for you guys, but let's talk about the championship fight that is going down. So starting from P2, how hard do you go into turn 1?
I think we just treat every race as it comes, so we're always wanting to finish as far up the order as we can in any race. So I don't think today will be any different. Got a couple of fast cars around me, so certainly want to be at the pointy end and, take the fight to juice.
Speaking of which, behind you is Brock Feeney, beside you, also staggered, is Ryan Wood. So it's a supercar star start. You've got to take that into account as well.
Yeah, for sure. I had a really great race with Brock yesterday and, struggled on those opening laps of my stint with a cold left side tyre. But, it'll be interesting off the start here, see how we go. But, the aim is obviously to keep them behind us and, secure as many championship points as possible.
Certainly is. Over to Thomas.
Thanks, Charlie. I'm down here with those supercar drivers. But firstly, I grabbed Brad Schumacher. Brad wrapped up 3rd place yesterday. You've got your championship rival starting directly in front of you in Elliot Shute. And Ryan Wood, your fellow teammate. Has there been any discussions about what's going to happen down to turn 1 between you guys?
Brock's going to absolutely launch it off the start, come down the inside, hit the brakes marker at about 20 out, turn the corner, take the lead. Simple.
And you reckon you're going to get to drive that car with no damage?
No. Look, obviously it's a long race, so Brock will, obviously take as it comes. And, we're all out there on looks like green tyres. So, obviously progressively working up to the tyre grip as the first few laps come on. So, get off to a good start and hopefully we'll end up with a good result. But just quickly, I'd like to shout out back home to my kids, Chelsea and Jasmine, and say Happy Father's Day. Sorry I'm not there, girls, but I hope that I get to see you very first thing tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's fantastic. I want to ask you a question. What's it been like working with Brock Feeney this year? And I know you've had Will Brown at a few rounds as well. Obviously the Supercars Championship leader and Sprint Cup winner recently. It must be pretty cool.
Technically, if you drive with Brad Schumacher in GT, you win the Supercars Championship. That's how it works. Will won last year. This year, Brock may win. Will win. No, it's great to work with Brock. Honestly, it's a completely different dynamic to Will. Brock is such a methodical character when it comes to how he conducts himself as a racing driver, and he's taught me a lot this year. So I think my driving has just got better again because of it.
Well, I hope I get the call up next year. That'd be great. Just quickly to Brock. So you're starting back here in P number 4, which is going to be great behind Elliot Shute. He did just say, Brad, about what you're going to do down at turn 1. Is it going to be a little bit of a different strategy, or do you like what he's trying to say?
Oh, I'd love to be able to do what he said. Pulling it off might be another thing, but look, the pro starts to these races are always pretty crazy, as you know. So all of us are fighting for sheep stations out here. So we're at a bit of a points deficit. So can have a bit of a swing today, try and get a race win. But look, Brad's been doing such a good job all the weekend. I'll try and hand it over in a good spot, hopefully in front, but if not, very close behind these guys in front.
Well, best of luck. You hand it over to Brad at the pit stop, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Cameron.
Yeah, I thought I'd head down to look at our AM-class battle. Renee Gracie, you've been doing a wonderful job this season. You've got to start to close it out. You've got to finish this one off, though, don't you?
Yeah, I do have to finish, but my goal's like any other goal. Win like I've been doing all year, and the rest will fall into place.
Your speed this year's been phenomenally consistent, and I remember talking to you last year that was what you were searching for. Do you feel like you've unlocked what you wanted?
My goal this year is to be a competitive AM outright, not just in the AM class, but overall. Hopefully puts me in a good position for next year. Maybe I'll move up and do some Pro-Am and rub some doors with these guys at the front.
Well, let's talk about the qualifying sessions that we've seen this weekend. You've shown incredible pace. We were looking at your name popping up and down the order. I think you're doing exactly what you've set out to achieve.
Definitely, it's exciting. It gives myself some confidence and obviously opens up some eyes and lets people know that I'm here to play and I'm here to be taken seriously on the grid.
I think we have all taken you seriously for a very long time. Good luck, Renee. I'm going to take this over to... I'm going to go across to Greg Rust. Actually, before I go to Rusty, I want to grab another one of our AM competitors. He's about to get in the car, so stick with me here, guys. I'm being very difficult with you, but I wanted to get Ben Schutz before he gets in the car. He knew I was going to come and grab him. Why would I do this, Ben? Because you are in the hunt for another race win. You and Shane Woodman in this Black Wolf entry have done a great job. We know when you first came out of Phillip Island there was a drama that happened at turn 12 there, but since you've come back with this car, it has just been so quick. You've been winning races. Have you got confidence today?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the track's like and things like that, but we've been struggling a little bit, but we keep ticking away and see how we go. But yeah, we're in a good spot. We'll just go around and hopefully we'll come out in a good spot.
And we're going to go to Greg Rust in a second, but before I finish this, Richard Crowell would kill me if I didn't ask this. In fact, he's going to know exactly what I'm going to say. Improved production nationals, you bringing the Mazda RX-7 back?
That's the plan.
All right, look out. This guy's going to be a dark horse there. Good luck for the race, Ben.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Have a good one.
Cam, I'm in the pit lane, so I'm actually at Wall Racing at the moment. Now, the Lamborghini has Tony D'Alberto at the wheel. It did go out there, Adrian Dietz, but it's come back into the lane. What's happened here?
Yeah, Tony was going out, doing his lap to the grid and warming the tyres through, warming the brakes, and he's just got halfway around the lap and the front left brake rotor's exploded. So it looks like a rock or something got thrown up, caught between the wheel and has just cracked the rotor, so catastrophic failure. Better it happened then than into turn one on the first lap. So the boys have done a magnificent job, replaced both front brake rotors, and he'll be allowed to start at the rear of the grid. So
that conversation with Motorsport Australia, as I've walked up here, was about him leaving here in a moment and joining the tail of the grid. Is that right?
The grid will go past, and then he'll be allowed to join at the tail of the field and start from the rear. He won't be able to overtake and take up his position, but we're just glad to be able to race.
Tough stuff, but appreciate the update. Thanks, Adrian. He gives us the thumbs up. Let's go to here's Thomas Randall.
Thanks, Rusty. I'm down here with Mark Rosser. I've got a question for you. Do you get more nervous when you're in the car to start the race or when Alex is in there starting the race?
Definitely when I'm in the car. Yeah, I'm just sitting there and the heart. So I checked my heart rate actually yesterday. I was surprised how high it was when I was sitting there doing nothing.
What sort of numbers are we talking?
I think it was about 106, so that was a bit high.
It's very high. I was just admiring on your door sill, you've got all your stickers for winning your Pro-Am races here. Any chance of trying to notch up another win this afternoon?
Oh, that's the plan. We're going to go for it. So full send today and hopefully we'll come up with a good result.
Well, there's plenty of speed with you behind the wheel. You qualified third yesterday, got into the lead early and you didn't look back at all. So all the best this afternoon. What's the advice for Alex?
Just pass everyone, make it easy for me.
So simple. Thanks, Crailsy.
Nice work, Thomas, and the team down there on the grid here, bathing in the sunshine. Perfect spring conditions, just on 24 degrees at the moment. Track temperature touching 30 degrees as we welcome you wherever you might be watching on the screens of 7 around Australia or GT World globally for the penultimate race or the conclusion to the penultimate round of the GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. We're about 100 k's to the southeast of the city of Adelaide in South Australia, and we have seen some very competitive racing this year. It's the last domestic round of the championship as well, because we head across the ditch to New Zealand and Hampton Downs International Raceway for the final round at the end of October, early November. So there's a bit to play for today, and with no mandatory pit stop times being assessed in this race due to the little dramas that we touched on the grid, this is a straight out fight between some of the best racing car drivers in this part of the world at the moment. And it's Mercedes, AMG, Ferrari and Audi at the pointy end of the grid. The big stories from yesterday, well, it was the local heroes that grabbed the victory. Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni for the Adelaide-based Team BRM squad in the ACMF Audi R8 LMS Ultra, that car in grid number 9. 9 there. They were supreme, and you heard from Mark Rosser on the grid chatting to Thomas Randall. They went straight to the front and they stayed there. This is how yesterday played out. A flying start for car number 1, the Aston Martin for Valente Rosso. Liam Talbot was racing. Rosser charging forward as well, and was making ground in that BRM Audi and got ground early on in that race. And this was the fight for the lead as they went down to turn 1 side by side, and the Aston was doing some defensive driving. And then this extraordinary moment from the multiple GT World Challenge Australia champ, Liam Talbot, into the fence on driver's left. Contact on that car. It would finish the race. It had some damage and some debris falling off it as well, but managed to limp that car home and score some championship points. But a tough day at the office for Valente Rosso. Pit stops underway and the pros jumped in for the second half of the race. Alex Peroni was handed a car in the race lead, and that is exactly where he stayed. Drove away from the field, no pit stop time, pulled a margin. It was more than 10 seconds by race's end. This was the battle though, Ferrari versus Audi, first and second in the Pro-Am Championship as well. Jackson Evans versus Brock Feeney. They went at it. It was proper intense GT racing between them, and this was the closest. Feeney had a big look down into turn 17. He got halfway there. There was room given by Jackson Evans, but ultimately no move on. They would finish second and third respectively, but they were all trailing in the aero wake of the Audi R8 that won second race win of the season. First on home turf though, the Team BRM, Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni did the business, and it was an outstanding one. And a great story too, that James and Theo Konduras grabbed the AM Class victory, their first of the season in the Superbarn Supermarkets Tigani Autosport Mercedes AMG. That's what happened yesterday. To set the scene for today, though, let's check out the 4.95 kilometre circuit here at the Bend Motorsport Park, and your chauffeur is Brad Schumacher.
Hi guys, Brad Schumacher here from Audi Sport, Team MBC. Jump on for a lap at the Bend Motorsport Park. So down the straight, usually just check your belts and get ready for a big braking zone into turn 1. Turn 1, hit your marker and trail brake in. Try to keep the mid-corner speed as high as possible through 1 and flow through 2. And then big brakes into 3. Hit the apex here so you can make sure you get good drive for the exit to get maximum speed through the long straight and fast left-hander at 5. Left-hander at 5 is full throttle, good aero with the Audi Sport Evo 2 GT3. Big brakes into 6, making sure to keep mid-corner speed and try to get drive without getting too much wheel spin. Then we have flat through to 4th gear, almost into rev limiter before we duck down into the bowl. Make sure to keep throttle progressive through here and keep the car balanced. Then dive it in fast into 11. 12 is a tricky corner to get right, and make sure to get the best drive you possibly can because you have the long straight before we head to 13. So we head to 13. It was a bit tricky today because of the sun, but get the apex right on the throttle as early as possible. Maximum drive, use all of the road. Then hard to keep the rear settled into 14, but if you can flow the car down through here and make sure to get the apex on the left-hander, it's a big long drive down into the second last turn. Again, big brakes down here, maximising your brake pressure and trail braking into the apex of the turn. Maximise the drive. Again, sun was really tricky here today to see your apex at the final turn. Get that apex on the throttle as early as possible and then go for the straight drive home. That's a lap of the Bend Motorsport Park. You're with Brad Schumacher. I hope you enjoyed.
Do it right, you'll do it in just over a minute and 45 seconds. The lap record is held by touring car great Jamie Whincup, 1 minute 45.6, way back in 2019 in a Mercedes AMG GT3. Hasn't been troubled since, though they got pretty close yesterday. We saw GT4 lap record smashed here earlier today. I wonder if they'll give that a nibble in the race today. You can see the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 from Wall Racing being driven out of pit lane. So Tony D'Alberto will start this car, a cracked brake rotor. We're actually sent a photo of that on the internal messaging system. We've gotten a really bad fracture. It almost exploded the rotor on that car. So from a safety point of view, they absolutely had to get that changed. Well done to the Wall Racing team for doing the job and getting that car out. And there'll be an opportunity to salvage something here from the back of of the grid. Thomas Randall's worked his way up from a grid bathed in sunshine. Tommy, it's beautiful conditions for this track. Temp 30 degrees at the moment. So the warmest they've raced in, not just this weekend, thinking about 3 rounds of GT World Challenge. So these are some unknown conditions for a grid that is racked and stacked and ready to go.
And pretty much all cars, nearly all cars, are on brand new tyres for this one as well. So these are the ideal conditions you want when you're starting on fresh rubber and get that temperature up. Here's our pole position for Trophy Cup. Stupas and Higgin. Renee Gracie on pole in the AM Cup. And then Jaden Ojeda with that blistering lap time in qualifying yesterday. It feels like it was longer than yesterday that he did that lap. And it'll be Ojeda taking the green flag and the red lights when they extinguish.
Steve Brooks and Ryan Wood feel like they're contenders today, regardless of the pit stop compensation time. Yesterday's winners go out of 6 with Alex Peroni starting. The Aston Martin, patched up overnight, goes from 7th. That Lamborghini will start from the back of the field. Quiet, unheralded performance yesterday from George King and Marcel Zalura, I thought, for Gaia Valmont Racing in their Mercedes AMG. You heard from Ben Schutz on the grid. He's already looking ahead to improve production racing, which is one of the other cars for many that he drives. Grant Donaldson driving on his own this season in the 111 Racing Mercedes AMG, and then the trophy class car of Matt Stupas and Gary Higgins starting from the back of the field. So that's the grid. An hour on the clock for the motor race. Pit stop window, 5 minutes first for the AM cars, then the Pro-Am window opens halfway through the race, and there's 5 minutes to pit, which at this venue is 3 laps maximum, with the long lap time here the longest of the GT World Challenge season, excluding the Maguire's Bathurst 12 hour at the start of the season. So all in readiness, a big drag race, and a Mercedes AMG on pole, yet to win a race, Thomas, this year. Can today be the day where Jaden Ojeda and Paul Lucidi bring the real to Merck home?
Oh, I really hope for their sake. That would be awesome, not only for Ojeda, Lucidi, the whole team at Zagani Motorsport. They put so much effort in, the Wollongong-based team. And Nathan and his team do a great job down there. And like you just touched on with the pit stops, once that pit stop window opens, you'll see these pro drivers will be staying out till the death of time, trying to maximise their speed. The lights are out on the BMW M safety car, and we're about to get this second race underway.
Jackson Evans starts that bright yellow and red Ferrari from the outside of the front row. Championship leader now by 33 points. So irrespective of what happens today, that car will lead the championship to the Hampton Downs finale in 6 weeks' time. Away we go at the bend. Great start. Jordan Love jumps from the third right of the grid, and he's got 2 wheels on the grass trying to squeeze up the inside. Ojeda defending. Evans challenging Ryan Wood there. They're 4 wide behind. Look at the Audis coming at them for the lead. Around the outside goes Peroni. He's got ground. Ryan Wood hip and shouldered out wide, but crucially Brock Feeney's lost ground as well in the Kelso electrical car, and he could lose some more too. Love up the inside. Ojeda clear out in front.
And what a start from Alex Peroni. He started back in 6th place, so whether that was just an incredible reaction time, but he's up into the top 3. And that was your race 1 winner from yesterday as everyone files down to turn 6. Peroni right in behind Jackson Evans, and there is Jamie Day up into 7th. So everyone making it through relatively cleanly into the first couple of corners. But I tell you what, Brock Feeney dropped back a spot there, and Ryan Wood, he started 3rd, so he's lost out to Peroni as well.
They've almost broken into their respective classes here with a bit of a margin back to Renee Gracie in the AM class, with Theo Konduras just behind. There's some oversteer happening as they get tyre temperature up in front. The KFC Audi there with Matty Stupas behind the wheel had the tail wagging through turn 11. This is turn 13 up the hill. It's blind on the exit, and then turn 14, this long corner with a really difficult exit. It is prone to making mistakes there. Ryan Wood very wide. Feeney looking to get up the inside. Jordan Love there. The Audi struggling in the opening stanza of this race. And Love looks down the inside in the second of the Arise Ferraris.
Well, the MPC Audis seem to be struggling because the BRM Audis made up heaps of ground, and he's all over the back of Jackson Evans in that Arise Racing Ferrari, and the other Arise Racing Ferrari is right on the back of Brock Feeney. So yeah, Brock Feeney's lost out a bit of ground there. Meanwhile, out in front, Jaden Ojeda, the Juice, as we call him. Can they get the job done? He's got the first tick done, the race start. Well, 2 ticks, race start, lap 1. and now he's just going to have to hold on, and once he hands over the reins to Paul Lucchini at the pit stop.
The interesting one for mine is this, is that BRM Audi you touched on that won yesterday, nothing to lose. They are not in championship calculations. They don't care about what's going on with the Arise Racing Ferrari or the Brock Feeney, Brad Schumacher, Kelso Electrical Audi. These guys are in it to win it, and that's it. There's no compensation time for winning yesterday to penalise them either. So the gloves are off. Let's see what they've got. Right now it's Mercedes, Ferrari and Audi, the top three.
Yeah, we'll worry about those compensation times later on and just focus on what an awesome race this is going to be, as Jackson Evans, with that bit of clear air, because Jada's just managed to open up a small gap. Now he's got that clear air, starting to make a little bit of ground as we look at a replay on the start. So keep your eyes on Alex Peroni here.
He was held back, didn't he, at the start, and he got a really good run and opted to go to the outside. Feeney moved across on him a little bit, but Peroni, the young Tasmanian open wheel racing graduate, kept the boot into it and will sail around the outside of a bunch of them here. He's already clear of Feeney by the time they get to the brake pedal.
And the advantage of being on the outside is because you're further out, and that's the optimal line. You can carry that speed. You obviously need to trust the car that's on the inside of you, and Ryan Wood gave him plenty of room and respect, and that's allowed Peroni to move up, well, 3 positions, so he capitalised on Wood, Feeney and Love, so that's going to benefit them when they do their pit stop and hand it over to Mark Ross. And we saw just how strong Mark Ross was yesterday. He pressured Liam Talbot into that mistake at turn 13, and then once he got into the lead, he never looked back either.
Yeah, Liam, by the weight of his results alone, is arguably the best AM driver in the country at the moment, so to be able to achieve that was an enormous thing for Mark to do. There is Talbot, Shannons Insurance, Audi R8, done some amazing things for charity this year, a couple of substantial donations and a lot of funds raised, which is just tremendous from Liam. And I know his family will be watching on from Brisbane on Father's Day here in Australia today. Ojeda has got the margin to 1.2 seconds. Evans behind. The Ferrari's been really strong all weekend in that opening sector. The Merc, it's such a stable platform, the big AMG GT3, so it's always good through the real high-speed stuff where they are now. That's a look at turn 7 and 8. This awesome run down the hill at the bend. And even this shot, which I think really does show the elevation, when you actually go and walk the track or drive around it slowly in a rental car, it plunges downhill there, and there's a great compression at the bottom as the car settles as well.
Yeah, in these sorts of cars, not only do you feel it in your neck, but you feel it in your stomach as well as you go down the rise and then come back up. It's a lot of G-force there, and it's such a sustained G-force too, because you're going around those 3 right-handers for such a long period of time. So Jackson Evans now starting to reel in our race leader just marginally. I just saw a bit of a moment for Brock Feeney into turn 6, so looks like the rear end of that car just not as compliant as he would have liked. And another thing, Renee Gracie, the gap between her and Honduras was around about half a second, but Delberto, who started from the pit lane, he's now worked his way up into the top 10.
Yeah, this has been a good drive from Tony. Cracked brake rotor on the out lap to the grid, and you'll see the cars coming into shot at the very back, and here they are. So Gracie's actually dropped about 9 seconds off the back of George King in the Gaia Valmont Racing Mercedes, and Dalberto now putting the pressure on. Tony will return to the Shell V-Power Racing team, and the Mustangs in the Supercars Enduro Cup. I mean, 90% of that grid is here this weekend. It's remarkable, the talent floating around this Shannons SpeedSeries paddock. Is there a move on here with the Lambo? Not quite yet.
And just want to touch on Stupas. He's actually got in front of Ben Schutz and Grant Donaldson, so doing a nice job in the KFC Audi.
They were a little bit frustrated in a way yesterday. They're running in trophy class, which is for previous generation GT3 cars. So without the current upgrades, the Evo kits, as they call them, that these outright cars have got. And they're the only ones in the class as Dalberto gets down the inside with a pretty straightforward move at turn 6. So they're the only ones here this weekend. Now, I was sort of just racing on our own. Now, focus on Sunday, they said, was to try and play with some of the AM class cars, and that's where Matt's lifted the KFC Audi up to at the moment.
Yeah, I think he might have just lost out to Ben Schutz. Jamie Day's got a little bit of a timing issue, I think, so I don't think he's actually in last position, as this is your battle for the AM class honours here between Honduras and Gracie. And Honduras got the job done yesterday, and
will be looking at trying to go back-to-back this weekend, which would be big, which would be great for them, the two Kundouris brothers, and Tagani Motorsport as well.
Theo, the younger of the two, as he will be happily reminding you every now and then when you have a little chat to him. But these two brothers, my early stages of my own personal motor racing journey way back, included these two running around in Porsche 996 Cup cars against each other. And then they were early converts when GT racing and what was the Australian GT Championship came back in 2005 here, and they ran their Porsches in that series. They've run an Audi R8. They've won their class at Mount Panorama in the Bathurst 12 Hour on several occasions. They've had a very successful campaign at Mount Panorama, and they've moved across to Mercedes-AMG in the most recent seasons and have strung together a really strong campaign this year. And yesterday, to grab that AM class win was such a great reward for their commitment. They're based in Canberra, the nation's capital, and look after the Superbarn Supermarkets chain of supermarkets around Australia. So very successful, passionate about their motor racing, and they are really good racing car drivers too. They've got so much experience now under their belt in this style of racing.
Yeah, they had a bit of tough luck at Sandown, didn't they, on the Sunday, where lost the rear on the exit of turn 3 and nosed it into the wall on the inside, so that ruled them out of that race. But so far this weekend has been a really nice turn of fortune for them to grab a win in class, and they've put the pressure on Rene Gracie as we look back to our number 26 Arise Racing Ferrari, the Lance East Exotics machine, driven by Jackson Evans, and they've got a nice, comfortable buffer in the championship as well. Basically a race clear of second place.
Yeah, 33 points, 25 it pays for a victory. You get bonus points for pole position as well to take it up potentially to 26, but yeah, it's a good margin. So they'll lead to New Zealand regardless of what happens today. But still, you just never know, do you, in this sport? And they will always be looking to increase their margin. Speaking of New Zealand, Steve Brooks, who's the other half of this combination that Ryan Wood is driving, and Woody has just set that car's personal best lap. So to your point early, the Team MPC Audi R8s, the second and third of the Audis on shot, now have come on as this race has progressed. It took them a while to get going, but now they've got that Pirelli tyre switched on. They're starting to hassle the back of Alex Peroni in third place. To my point, Steve Brooks, he's from Christchurch, but it's all New Zealand. He is super keen to get to Hampton Downs for the last round. He says, I cannot wait for all these guys and girls to come to my turf and race them over there, and he and Ryan Wood really excited about that. And we understand as well, Tommy, a couple of domestic GT teams will pop up there. There's some good GT3 cars in the landscape over in New Zealand that compete in their North and South Island Endurance Championships. I know the team at International Motorsport in Auckland will be watching on the great IMS operation. So Lyle Williamson and Nick, who runs the show, and their teams, I'm sure, will be on the grid at Hampton Downs. So we're looking forward to that little Trans-Tasman weekend, which is going to be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve Brooks, he's just been stepping it up, hasn't he, since the start of the year. He didn't have a lot of experience in these types of cars, and they rolled it out at Phillip Island. I think there was a little incident in practice, and to go from there to where he's gone now. And even Sandown, he did a great job in those damp conditions and qualified quite well in the top 6 yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see when they hand these cars over at the pit stop. And I still reckon that move that Peroni did on the start is going to be so crucial for when Mark Rosser gets behind the wheel, because we've seen how good he can be in one of these cars. And what he did yesterday at the start of the race, it's going to be between Lucchini, Shute, Rosser, and then Ryan Wood or Steve Brooks is going to be great.
Yeah, look, we love the pros and they're amazing, but the difference between the fastest pro and the slowest pro is a percent. It's tiny. When you're a pro racing car driver, like your good self, you're all going to be within a tiny percentage of lap time. That percentage grows when the AMs get behind the wheel, because they're all of different experiences and levels of experience that they've built over their respective driving careers. You heard from Paul Lucchini at the grid, and he said, I'm not as experienced as an Elliott Shute or a Brad Schumacher, especially, who is one of the best in these kind of cars, or certainly Liam Talbot. So that's where this race is decided. This race rests, and it's a lot of pressure. It rests on the shoulders of the AM driver that jumps in at the pit stop. So there's a lot to play out in this, and it is by no way and means a sure thing that this will be the order in about 40 minutes' time.
the pressure's on Lucchini because he's going to come out in the lead with a fast and motivated Elliott Shute and Rosser in behind. So the pressure will be on that 66 Mercedes, and we've touched on it earlier in the coverage and earlier in this race, and how cool would it be to see that Realtor Mercedes get a win, and it would be the first win of Mercedes this year. Rusty?
You guys were talking about Steve Brooks there before, so I thought we'd grab him while he was watching the coverage here at Audi Sport Team NBC. Does it feel like, you know, the cars come on, that the Pirelli comes on for you a few laps in?
Well, I don't really know. I just sort of hang on at the moment. It's just a hang on moment. But yeah, no, it's I do struggle with the tyres at the moment.
Ryan is doing a cracking job here. He looks in great shape for next weekend too, doesn't he?
Mate, he's fantastic. You know, and the practices is going to give him for next weekend with supercars. Absolutely fantastic. He's doing an amazing job out there.
Now we are. I know you're almost like a quasi Hampton Downs ambassador. You are keen for us all to get there, aren't you?
I'm ready. I'm ready. You know, that's going to be the home track. That's where you'll see us. You know, Podium, straight 2 races.
So. Right, I reckon you are still in this afternoon with a really good shot where you are at the moment. Go well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks, Greg.
He's a fun character to be around. The Wolfbrook Racing driver in that Audi R8. So 40 minutes to go. We're racing our way to the mandatory pit stops. Jayden Ojeda leads the race. Jackson Evans is second. Alex Peroni is third. Ryan Wood is fourth in the car we've just been talking about, and then Brock Feeney in 5th position at the moment. Just 7 seconds covering the top 6 cars on the road back to Jordan Love. So the field spread hasn't got too much as they race towards the pit stop.
And Crailsy, we know in the pit stop sequence it's so easy to make a mistake. We touch on it all the time, don't we, that little errors can pop up. We saw it in the GT4 race this morning, and we've seen it in the past in GT3 racing, where if you're just under that mandatory pit stop time, or you make a small mistake, turn the engine on too fast, all those sorts of things can be so costly.
Hey, in Australia we time to 4 decimal places, right? And it's fun to interpret the timing monitor. The first sector is about 41 seconds at the moment. Jackson Evans, Alex Peroni and Ryan Wood have done a first sector, and the difference between the 3 cars was 0.0003. 3/10,000ths of a second. That is how close they are, how close this depth of competition is. So a bit of debris, plastic bag on the racetrack. They'll be hoping to not collect that and get sucked into their intake and block the radiator perhaps. 1 minute 47.8 for Jayden Ojeda, 48.1 for Jackson Evans, 47.8 for Alex Peroni. So that's the quickest lap of the race for the ACMF car in 3rd position. 1 minute 47.9 for Ryan Wood. And Brock Feeney with a 47.7. That's his personal best lap as well. And of the top 5 cars, Brock Feeney was the quickest last time by.
That is exactly why we go to 4 decimal places, Crailsy, when you see that on the timing monitors. So we've seen this in other categories, supercars, in shootouts, where you've had to go to the 4th decimal point. So that is tight, and I'm looking forward to seeing what eventuates in the pits very shortly.
So of the leading 5, the car in 5th place is currently the quickest on the racetrack, but we're talking about hundredths of a second. And what this is, 5 very highly professional, 6, we look back to Jordan Love as well, highly professional factory race car drivers in supercars, or in the case of Jayden Ojeda, he's a Mercedes AMG junior driver. Jordan Love has been doing plenty of racing internationally in GT cars for a long time now. They are all driving these cars extremely hard. George King, a young Brit who's hugely experienced. Jamie Day is an Aston Martin junior driver as well. And then even Tony D'Alberto, who's dragged that Lamborghini from pit lane to the back of the pro class field. Rusty.
Just me, or did you wince before, like the 00 Motorsport days when that plastic bag went across the track? I get nervous when I see. I've just wandered into Arise Racing and had a word to Elliott Shute, because what grabbed my attention there was the direction that the plastic bags went. I said, is the wind direction different to yesterday, what you were confronted with in yesterday's race? He said, yeah, it is, but we're not quite sure yet just what the impact is like. So they're learning a bit on the run here about what the effect is, if you like, of the wind, which seems to have swung around and is the opposite of what we dealt with on Saturday.
Battle in the AM class here. Ben Schute's having a look up the inside of Theo Konduras. Came from a way back down at turn 17. Didn't quite get the move done in the end. But this is the battle for second and third in class, and this has allowed Renee Gracie in the OnlyFans Audi just to pull away a little bit to the tune of 6 or 7 tenths of a second. Cameron.
Yeah, I thought I'd go and grab Mark Rosser. To your point, Thomas, to your point, Krause, a lot of pressure rests on your shoulders. Alex has done a great job to put that car up into the top 3, but you know, this is where you get the moment, you get the time to shine and bring it home.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting, and I'm a little bit nervous about it, but yeah, I think me and Brad and Elliot might have a bit of a battle on our hands coming up shortly.
I think the comment from Krause was the biggest gains you can make are in the AM driver. The gaps between the fastest and the slowest pro driver are minimal. So therefore, that's where I think the pressure is, because you are listed by Krause, by Thomas, as one of the best AM drivers. Do you carry that confidence yourself?
Oh, it's very nice of him to say that. Thank you, guys. I mean, I think really now the level of the AMs in this series, we're all like within a tenth or two of each other on each day anyway as well. So it's not too dissimilar from the pro drivers. There's probably just a couple other AMs that maybe a couple extra tenths away. So but certainly the top 4 or 5 of us, we're all pretty close to each other on our own day.
How do you think it's going to play out for you? This is the last question. I'll let you go and put the race face on. But how do you think this no penalty stop is going to play out? Is it advantage to you or a disadvantage?
If we don't have a safety car at the end, I guess it's an advantage. But yeah, it depends. If there's a safety car straight after our pit stop, then it's a disadvantage. So it could go either way.
All right, good luck. I'll let you go and get ready.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Cam. That's a good character, Mark Rosser. He's got a Benetton Formula 1 car with a Judd V10 behind it, and he was knocking around Silverstone in that last year. Thoroughly passionate about his motorsport. Started in an earlier gen Audi R8 and stepped up into the current shape car. Here's a shopping bag update for you. But do you know what they look like? They look like those sort of protective wraps you get when you're unboxing a trophy or a model car or something like that. Regardless, they are staying put. Oh, and there goes one. Well, that's one way to deal with it. Don't tear them both into a million pieces.
As long as it doesn't end up in one of these radiators or intakes, that's the biggest concern. But I don't think that one will now. It's in about, as you said, a million pieces.
And Rusty the Merc has the world's biggest grill as well, so I think it's acted a bit like a cheese shredder there. Rusty?
Just wandered into Tagani Autosport, and the engineers grabbed me to say that Jaden Ojeda is saying through the triple rights, that sequence of corners over the back there, what is that, 7 through 10? I'm doing that off memory, apologies. The car has more understeer today than yesterday, and that is the net impact of the wind change.
Yeah, thank you, Rusty. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. These cars, with so much aero, can be so wind affected, and looking at the direction of the wind, that makes sense. So if you've got a tailwind through there, that's what's going to cause that understeer. But if you've got a headwind that just pushes that air on the front splitter, that's what would help normally in terms of getting that front downforce. So just looking out of our commentary box, it's a bit of a headwind or a crosswind across the main straight. So similar-ish conditions, not a lot less windy compared to yesterday, but if you look at the sky, we've been talking about it, Krause, it is a beautiful day here out at the Bend.
The weather's always like this, Thomas, in the great state of South Australia, always perfect. As we watch Tony D'Alberto, don't shake your head at me, Tony D'Alberto head up towards turn 1 in the Lamborghini Huracan, started from pit lane, so they're racing, I suppose, with one arm behind their back, having given away a lot of track position early, and he's now 30 seconds behind the leading group of cars as we race towards the pit stop. Cameron?
Add to the point about the change of the wind direction. It is, as you say, Thomas, from left to right as you come down the main straight, whereas yesterday it was a headwind down the front straight here. Well, one of the other key differences, yesterday it was a consistent wind. Today it's gusting heavily. And Thomas, you as a professional driver with a car that can be affected heavily by aero, you'd rather a consistent wind rather than those big gusts, because they can really destabilise the car, particularly through those high loads like the triple right-hander.
Yeah, it's a good point you make there, Cameron. And as a driver, you know, generally you have a track map on the steering wheel, or you'd look at it before the race, and you know what direction north is, so you can easily work out which way the wind's coming from. And as a driver, you go, okay, for example, if you've got a headwind into turn 1 at at the bend. You know you can brake later into turn 1. You're not going to be carrying as much top speed. But then if you go round, say, turn 11, where you get a tailwind, you've got to be careful not to carry too much speed because you can lose the rear. And we've actually seen that across the days, especially yesterday in qualifying as well. Rusty?
I just wanted to have another look at this, Thomas, because I want to have a look at this because if you're a plastic bag enthusiast, this will be hard to watch. Thoughts and prayers to that plastic bag that was destroyed by a KFC Audi. Audi 1, plastic bag firmly 0 there. Yeah, that's a little bit of that protective covering that you'd get. So when you go and buy your favourite scale model of your GT3 car, you find it wrapped in that. It's actually quite sturdy material. It's designed to protect fragile items. So,
well, it's protected the fragile front splitter on the Audi,
hasn't
it?
No damage whatsoever. But yeah, GT3 car at 240 kilometres an hour versus whatever you call that, it's going to go in the favour of a GT3 car. I'm just pleased it wasn't wildlife or anything more serious.
So the pit window is open for AM and trophy class cars, and the first to blink is Donaldson, so straight in the lane for the 111 car. And once we'll see 5 minutes surpass that, the pit lane will open for the Pro-Am cars. So that's first all the way down to 9th, and D'Alberto up into 9th place, albeit a further 11 seconds behind 8th. Obviously, he's had to start from pit lane, but I've got to say now, Ryan Wood really starting to apply pressure on Alex Peroni. This is probably the closest he's been, and it's going to be that battle. If it stays like this before the pit stops, it's going to be that battle between Brooks and Rosser, and then don't discount Brad Schumacher, who'll be taking over the reins in the 888 Audi as well.
I wonder if some of these teams roll the dice and say maybe to Ryan Wood, if the 268 car peels off, stay out a lap, do something different to try and get some track position. Stay out one more lap perhaps. That little bit of clean air could give you a little bit more lap time performance. The outlaps also are going to be absolutely critical on this. How quickly can the co-driver get the car up to speed? And a little moment from Peroni getting that car into turn 6. It was very wide getting that car turned in, and Wood closes in a little bit. So the AM drivers will be able to complete their pit stops first. They've got 5 minutes, and then it opens for the Pro-Am cars.
Yeah, Wood looking a lot more racy here compared to his teammate, Brock Feeney. Brock's just been sitting back a bit further adrift behind the 88 Audi, and yeah, Ryan Wood really putting pressure on Alex Peroni, whether or not there's an opportunity here to try and get a move done before the pit window opens. We're not that far away from the pit window opening, and yeah, looking a lot more racy than what it looked like for those MPC Audis at the start of the race. They seem to wobble a bit, and whether that's just a tyre pressure thing or they just don't get that temp early, the grip in those tyres that early on in the race with that high fuel load. Remember, there is no refueling in these pit stops, and there is an option to change tyres. You don't have to. So the longer we go into the race, the lighter these cars are getting.
We did see some teams yesterday putting working side tyres on their cars. So brand new tyres or better conditioned tyres down the left-hand side, which is the side of the car that cops all the abuse at this venue with all of those fast right-hand corners. Leaders go through. AM Class 1, 2 and 3 all in the lane. Gracie Konduras and Shoots. And that plastic bag has decided it wants revenge, and it's been attached to the dive plane on the Wolfbrook Audi and will not be departed. Aerodynamicists everywhere keeping an eye on the vortexes coming off the back of the vortexes or vortices.
Vortices, eh?
Tell us in the comment section. Coming off the back of the ACMF car in front. Shows you how aero works, doesn't it? As they go down into turn 6, Feeney just in behind. So the Audi still all lockstep at the moment. Gracie out of the lane. So too Shane Woodman, and they have jumped the Konduras car. Cameron.
Yeah, I was just about to fill you in on exactly that. They just got out half a car, and it did not allow the Konduras car into the fast lane because it was advantage to Woodman, so it was an overtake in the lane, but it would have been by about a third of a car. That's how close the gap was.
Meanwhile, the CPS window now open for the Pro-Am cars, so our leading cars can pit this lap. The question is, will they? You want to extend your stint for the pro driver as long as you possibly can. They've got 5 minutes from now. It's 3 laps maximum on a minute 50-odd lap at the Bend Motorsport Park.
And because there's no pit stop compensation times, Crailsy, if they all pit on the same lap, this is going to be a busy pit lane. We've seen it before. Phillip Island, we've seen it. Unsafe releases, all sorts. Obviously, we don't wish that upon anyone, but it is going to get very busy down in pit lane.
More plastic bags still playing a role into this race. Fortunately, pit stop not far away off the road. James Konduras having just taken over the Superbarn Supermarkets 47. That was a big drop on the exit of turn number 9.
It looked like one of those plastic bags went straight in the grill of Brock Feeney down the main straight. We just happened to catch that on the Super Cheap Auto wall cam. And that's the one thing we were talking about not wanting to happen. And it just got sucked up by that Audi. So he's going to have to want to keep an eye on that. Here we go. We've got a replay here. So look in the back of shot. The last car. And you can't quite see from there. But there is a bit of that plastic has got caught in the grill. Oh, that was the Ryan Wood one, sorry. So that was the plastic getting lodged into the dive plane on the left-hand front. But there is a bit of plastic that's caught in the grill of that 888 Audi as well. You can see it there, right in the front.
It's a fascinating display of aero, that, because the Arise Racing Ferrari perfectly straddled the plastic bag, and it was flung about 10 metres into the air behind the car as it came out from the diffuser. This is the car that Thomas is talking about, so we'll see that as it comes into shot around turn 14. So it's maybe a quarter blocking the MPC logoed. Oh, off the road, Alex Peroni from 3rd place. Is it a mechanical or was it a moment? This is a big moment with the pit stops due.
It's turn 11 and 12, yeah. What has happened there?
If you're Tigani Autosport, you are pitting this lap for fear of a safety car.
This is that replay of the plastic bag, I think. Oh no, not a replay, sorry. Nope. So, I mean, there's no visible damage on the Peroni car. Has it just come to a stop? Because
our team will be on it down at BRM. They'll find out. Alex will be on the radio explaining what's gone on. Key contender out. What it's done is released Ryan Wood and Brock Feeney as well from the back of that Audi. Now these two still locked together as Jamie Day pits. So Valente Rosso have elected to stop the number 1 Aston Martin. They're the first of the Pro-Am cars to bail into pit lane. The others are going to have to stop this lap to get it done. Rusty?
It's come down to the Peroni Rossa pit. The crew tell me there's a power issue. It's lost power for some reason. I'll get you more details when I can.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. They're in such a good position. It's so hard to back up a victory in this championship. In fact, only once this entire season has a driver or a team won both races in the same weekend. And they were looking like they were in a really strong position. Wall Racing are in the lane as well. Tony D'Alberto will hand over to Adrian Dietz. The Sydney sider will take over that car. Meanwhile, Jaden Ojeda, the Realtor car, should be charging towards the lane.
Yeah, that's a really awkward spot as well for Alex Peroni to be stopped, because we have seen cars go through that area over the course of the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see whether they race control leave it green, or if they're probably just waiting to see if Peroni can get that thing fired up. But it is a bit of an awkward spot there, isn't it? So we'll see what happens. But put that aside, our race leader, Jaden Ojeda, has come to the lane, and let's see if Jackson Evans follows him in. Yep, they all do.
It's a fast, high-speed pit entry here. In fact, Jackson Evans can attest to that. Huge high-speed entry, and you need to nail that 40k an hour pit limit. In the Monochrome GT4 Australia race earlier today, we saw someone penalised for a breach of pit lane speed, and it's a big penalty too. Out goes Adrian Dietz, having completed his stop. So the mandatory stop's underway. Remember, no compensation time. So it is flat out in and out, and a driver change. And this will be Brock Feeney jumping out and Brad Schumacher taking over. They need to find a way somehow to beat the Arise Racing Ferrari. They need to drag some championship points out of their closest rivals to give them every opportunity to battle for a championship in the final round at Hampton Downs.
It is where you absolutely need to nail everything in the pit stop. They've got the race logic on their dash or next to their dash, and you can see it from the outside as well, and on some cars, just to make sure that you absolutely nail that timing. And it basically works as a countdown. There's a GPS point at pit entry and pit exit. The teams calculate that. They would have had to do some recalculations this morning for those cars that finished in the top 3. Some tyre pressure adjustments here. I don't think there's any, because there's no compensation times for anyone, I don't think there's any chance for anyone to change tyres, as there goes our race leader, Paul Lucchini. This is going to be tight between, as I think that's a change.
Yeah, so the Wolfbrook car was delayed by their teammates getting out at Team MPC. So that's big. And then in behind, Stephen White's taken over the dark red Ferrari with a kangaroo on the bonnet. And Marcel Zalua with the Guy Valmont racing car. Now this, the KFC Audi, has had a big spin coming out of turn 12, way out into the undergrowth. Alex Peroni's car still there, and meanwhile, Jamie Day, having just taken over the Shannons Aston, has had quite a big lose. And the headlights flashing just to get that car fired up. It seems like Race Control have decided that this car is going to remain where it is. Alex Peroni still sitting there comfortably. Now everybody's completed their mandatory pit stop. Paul Lucchini leads the race, and his margin 6 seconds.
So that was an error from Talbot on his outlap, because...
Talbot, yes,
yeah,
you're correct, not Jamie Day.
Yeah, so on his outlap, because his middle sector is a minute long compared to other outlaps, and we've gone safety car, so that would be due to Alex Peroni, who's just getting out.
So we've got to get to Rusty in a second. They've waited for everyone to complete their pit stops, and now they've gone safety car, and Alex Peroni is out, and this changes things as well. Rusty.
There was a Motorsport Australia official here liaising with Race Control, I think, and they have debated whether to leave that car there or not. You've absolutely hit it right on the nail that they've moved from a safety perspective, because Team BRM, who are such good operators, they've had a great weekend at home here. They got Alex to work through a recycle of that system, hoping that they would cure whatever the power failure is. It has not been able to fix it, unfortunately. Heartbreak for them.
Yeah, thanks, Rusty. So for Paul Lucchini, they were so confident. They were so confident coming into today as well, because they were not going to have any pit stop time added after their 4th place finish yesterday. But they now had a 6-second lead that's just been diminished by a safety car as well. So just keep an eye on the Peroni Audi down the hill. That's turn 7. Man, that's high-speed stuff too. The car's clearly just cut out, but no one's at fault there. There's no contact, a little hesitation for Ryan Wood, and then he's pulled to a stop. So just to put a full stop on this, they managed this car being stranded there under double wave yellows, which means extreme caution. Car stopped. They've let everyone cycle through the pit stop sequence. Now they've ticked that box, and the race has been cleansed into its order. They will throw the safety car. So the BMW M safety car leads the way here at the bend. Paul Lucchini is your leader for Mercedes in the Realtor team. Elliott Shute is second, and Brad Schumacher third. So the dice have not rolled in the favour today, it must be said, of the 66 team, because they see quite a handy lead that Jaden Ojeda had built up before that pit stop disappear, and yet there's still opportunity. There's going to be maybe 14 minutes remaining when this gets back to green, perhaps a little bit less. Can he hold on? And then the B-plot, the sub-story to this is that Brad Schumacher will be very energised to get past Elliott Shute, and will back himself to do so. So that will be a good battle, and that could be everything that Paul Lucchini needs as well, because if they start warring over that for 2nd and 3rd position, then that could be what the Mercedes AMG needs to stay in front.
I think it's going to be a spicy last 15 minutes of this one. So the Ford Raptor, or Ford Ranger Raptor recovery vehicle, ready to remove the powerless 268 Audi, unfortunately. They might need Peroni back to get back in that thing and drag it home, but yeah, such a shame for them. And it's unfortunately just sums up their luck this year, doesn't it, Crailsy? There's been so many times where there's been so much promise and just things out of their control have gone by the wayside. But you can't discount the job they did. And there is Peroni, roll back, enter stage right. You can't discount the performance from both Peroni, Mark Rosser and the team yesterday grabbing that win. That was an emphatic drive from both of those guys. And yeah, like you said, the pressure's on Paul Lucchini now.
It's been sink or swim for them this year, and the last time they had a win, they DNF'd the other race. It's at Queensland Raceway back in June. The BMW M safety car leads the GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS Field. There are 16.5 minutes to go in what is the third last race of the championship. Just 2 to go after this. And it is a shootout to the finish with Paul Lucchini leading the way in the Realtor car, run by Tigani Autosport, based on the southern coast in New South Wales, south of Sydney. Behind them, Arise Racing from the west. This new team that stormed into the championship calculations last year and claimed it with Chaz Mostert and Liam Talbot. Well, Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans are the two that have been doing all the winning this year in the 26 car. And in third place, representing Audi and Team MPC, it's Brad Schumacher with Brock Feeney having done the job early in this race.
You know who this safety car has helped out? Liam Talbot. That spin on the outlap was so costly. He lost about 30 seconds in the weeds down at the triple right-hander, turns 8 to 10. And now he's right on the back of the 93 Lamborghini, Adrian Dietz. We've just been told, confirmation, that the lights will be out this lap. The BMW M safety car will be returning to the lane. And this is going to be an action-packed final 14-odd minutes.
Just trying to look to where they pulled Alex Peroni out of the way, and I suspect it might be down on the GT loop of the circuit here, the 7.7k track right out the back. It's a kilometre away from here, so I hope they give young Alex a lap back. Otherwise, he's got 20 minutes of GT cars from the other side of the Ben Motorsport Park.
He might need to get the nav. You just saw it in the back of the shot, actually. He might need the GPS going to get back to pit lane after this.
There is the East Circuit, which can run at the same time as this track. It's a cool little layout, actually, over the back. So you can run the West and the East Circuits concurrently. They used the West Circuit here last year, which rather than that turn 6 hairpin, you go straight ahead down the hill and turn right and come back up. It's a racy little layout, actually. But the GT drivers love this one for all the high-speed stuff around the back.
Keep an eye on Marcel Zalua as well. He's subbing in for Sergio Perez. Unfortunately, he had an injury over the last week or so, and I'm sure he's watching on. G'day, Sergio Perez. We hope you're well. And it's cool to see Marcel, well, they're able to, I guess, swap in and out, aren't they, those two? And I was lucky enough to drive alongside Marcel a bit earlier in the year at Sydney.
And Serge had an ACL operation, which is no good. Anterior cruciate ligament is a big one. That's footballers out for the season kind of thing. So hopefully Serge can be back in the race car sooner rather than later. So the lights are out, the BMW M safety car, and Paul Lucchini becomes the pace car now as the field stacks up behind him. There's going to be just under 14 minutes to go in this one. It is a shootout towards the end. Brad Schumacher needs to get past the Arise Ferrari with a championship in his mind. Steve Brooks doesn't care, just wants to beat them all. Paul Lucchini wants a win for he and Jaden Ojeda, and what would be the first for Mercedes AMG. So many storylines, so much to play for, and a shootout on Sunday at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. Good restart. Paul Lucchini gaps him out in the final corner and drives away up towards turn 1. AM-class victory. Sorry, Tom is on as well. Renee Gracie, Shane Woodman now back to the rear of the OnlyFans Audi as Talbot down the inside of Adrian Dietz in that Lamborghini.
And that was Higgin. I think Higgins actually a lap down, so just needs to get out of the way, I guess. But this is the battle that we want to see between Elliott Shute, and it's all going on in the background, isn't it? Higgin just trying to steer clear of everyone. But I was just going to touch on Elliott Shute and Brad Schumacher. That is the fight for the championship lead. We know that there is a healthy buffer there, a 33-point buffer for the 26 Arise Racing Ferrari. And Brad Schumacher knows he needs to finish in front of Elliott Shute to try and keep that championship alive heading to Hampton Downs in a few weeks. And just to put a statement on that and say, hey, we're here, you know, we know we can get the job done, as that would mean so much for Brad Schumacher and the team down there at MPC.
There's 111 Racing car, Grant Donaldson behind the wheel. Lucchini gapping Elliott Shute. Schumacher trying to get some more tyre temper on the Kelso Electrical Audi. These two squabbling. We talked about this. Could help the Realtor AMG. Shute is super fast. We know that. He's been so impressive this year during his stints, both in qualifying and in the races. Schumacher the match for him, though. Brooks holding on as well. Talbot lights ablaze on the Aston Martin, coming at them all behind. So can he play himself into this one after a little error early on his outlap from pit lane? The safety car has certainly helped the Valente Rosso team.
Well, he's certainly got the pace, because he's just set on this lap the fastest middle sector of all the cars that are in front of him, and he's moved up into position number 6. So his lap time there was
Schumacher down the inside at turn 1. Crucial from a championship point of view. There's almost contact between Audi and Ferrari. Shute holds on.
Yeah, this is a pivotal moment, isn't it? There could have easily been contact there. And look who's in behind. Steve Brooks sniffing for a spot as well.
Frustrated that they lost some track position during the pit stops there. So one Audi swapped in front of the other one. And now they're both ganging up on the Arise Racing Ferrari.
There goes Talbot down the inside of Wyatt as well. So Wyatt caught a little bit off guard, and he's going to get the switchback on Liam Talbot. What a nice switchback or re-overtake there. Talbot went for a late lunge, couldn't quite get it stopped. And Stephen Wyatt says, hey, you might be the reigning champion, but you know what? I reckon I could move back on you.
Yeah, the old Aston went fairly deep into turn 6, didn't it? Yeah. Did a good job to get it stopped and towards something resembling an apex, but Stephen Wyatt was always going to try and slice back up the inside. Nicely done. Top 4, Constantine together. And after that attack, it's just given Shute a little bit of breathing room. Oh, it's not up the inside of Wyatt. The Ferrari tipped into a spin at turn 13. Front bumper to rear. The Ferrari unloaded.
Yeah, I'm afraid that was just a bit of impatience, Crailsey. That the overtake was not on there, I'm afraid. And look at this, he's in behind him, hasn't even got a car length up, and then goes for a late lunge. Yeah, contact in the rear, spins Wyatt around, and it's play on for Talbot. But Wyatt, I think he's not caught up in any gravel, just in the grass, but no fault of Wyatt. And what that move that Wyatt did back on Talbot was so nice, and that's just purely frustration from Liam Talbot. As the move, here we go, another attempt at turn number 1. Oh, so close once again between Shute and Schumacher, and once again Brooks right in behind, keeping both of them honest.
And Paul Lucchini is loving this. There's just that valuable little car length and a half between the Realtor AMG and the two cars squabbling behind. Great racing at the front of GT World Challenge Australia. Less than 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, 9 minutes remaining plus a lap, and a bit wide, Elliott Shute, because he's got two things on his mind here. He's trying to go for the win and get Lucchini, who, by the way, has been doing a great job out in front. He controlled the restart, hasn't made any mistakes, and it'd be good to see what Ojada's thinking right now. He'd be stressing, I reckon, really wanting to try and get that first win of the season for both of them. But I think all the pressure that Elliott Shute's under is taking the focus off Elliott in trying to move forward. So that, just back to car 1 with Liam Talbot, that has been noted by the stewards at turn 13 of what we saw a lap ago.
What a performance this is from Paul Lucchini, pulling away from the championship leading Arise Racing Ferrari, who's under siege from Brad Schumacher. At Steve Brooks, it's almost like Brooksy's gone, I'm just going to step back a little from this one, because it could end up grabbing a couple of spots. Stewards have noted the incident, car number 1, for a driving infringement.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a slam dunk penalty. And in fact, there it is, 15-second time penalty for Liam Talbot for a driving infringement. So once again, this weekend has just gone from bad to worse for Liam Talbot. It started out so great. He clinched pole position by less than half a tenth, then made that mistake in the race yesterday, that mistake on the outlap today, and that impatient overtake on Steve Wyatt. Rusty?
I'm at a Rise Racing Ferrari with Jordan Love. Now, as he came to this interview, he may not have heard your commentary then, so there is a 15-second penalty that's been applied. I mean, your take on what you saw and how you feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say what Steve said on the radio, but I don't know if that's good enough for TV or not. But no, a bit ambitious, but that's racing. Got to have a go, so here's what it is. Steve will press on and, yeah, hopefully we can get to the checkered flag.
That is a hard one to swallow in the sense that you started so strongly. Car looked good today when, you know, at the beginning of the race for you.
Yeah, we struggled a little bit with pace, unfortunately. The car was a little bit difficult to drive, but, yeah, we were up in the mix and the safety car certainly helped us, and, yeah, we're in a good spot. Steve was, you know, he's building and learning, and he was up there with the front runners and prepared to follow him along. So, yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but, yeah, that's how it goes.
Appreciate you talking to us. Thank you. Cam?
Yeah, I thought I'd listen to what Thomas Randall said, and I'd go and find out exactly what Jayden O'Jade is thinking right now, because Paul Lucchitti's doing a great job out in front.
Yeah, he's hanging on so far, so I think we've got maybe 4 laps left to run, so fingers crossed he can keep it together. He's driving incredibly well, so he's definitely would have earned it if he manages to hang on here.
He was almost down on himself on the grid, wasn't he? He was talking himself down, but he's been able to control the restart, extend a little bit that lead out there at the moment. But for you sitting here, not in control at all, how are you just keeping yourself calm in this scenario?
Yeah, I think to say the least, he was a little bit nervous there on the grid. He knew he would have it up to him to really win this race, especially without the pit stop penalties. But like I said, he's doing awesome, so let's just hope, fingers crossed, he can get it done for his Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the other dads out there as well.
Well, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm just going to say the race presses on, and we'll see you in a few laps' time.
Thanks to the team down there. Jayden O'Jade, cool as a cucumber, but he'll be feeling the little stress here as Talbot gets to the back of Brooks. So put a full stop on this. 15-second time penalty coming the way of car number 1, which will tumble him right to the back of the Pro-Am class cars, though ironically not behind Stephen Wyatt, where he's running at the moment. And this is the frustrating thing, I think, for this team, is that the Aston Martin is genuinely very quick. Back to Rusty.
Gee, this is a brutal game at times. Yesterday we were talking about the great success for this team, what BRM had done, and what a terrific weekend so far it had been for you. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, that race was going exactly to plan. We knew it was going to be hard to pass, so the first lap was going to be crucial, and yeah, I managed to get a good start and go into third, and then I was just hanging on really because everyone around me had newer tyres, so with this heat the deck definitely increased from yesterday. And then coming out of 6, it just started to cut out, and then lost gears, clutch, power steering, everything. So we think it was a sensor, crank sensor, and that just puts everything to bed. So disappointed for the team. This was looking like a good race. Mark had good pace, so I reckon he would have been able to at least keep second and maybe fight for the win. But anyway, it's kind of summed up our year. So
how was the mechanics degree? Because I think the boys were on the radio too. You're trying to hopefully get it going again, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't think we knew what it was at first. We just tried to cycle the power, cycle the fuel pumps, and just try everything. But yeah, to no avail. So
it's enough, Alex Baroni. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Nicely done, Rusty. He's a super young guy, Alex, and they will bounce back, I'm sure. The level playing field of Hampton Downs, I feel, will help them as well. This is the 3-car battle for the lead. 4 minutes remaining, and then a lap after that to decide this one. Paul Lucchitti is driving the race of his life out in front. Elliott Shooter's behind. He's showing the nose of the Ferrari at turn 1. He's just been absolved of some pressure from Brad Schumacher lately, so now he can put his eyes forward and challenge for the lead. But Schumacher's right there too. 3-car fight. How good is GT3 racing though? Mercedes, AMG, Ferrari and Audi, and charging them all down is the Aston Martin, which is going very rapidly in the hands of Liam Talbot.
But while Elliott Shute attempts an overtake on Lucchitti, it just slows them up more and brings the Kelso Electrical Audi right into it. And we've already seen a few attempted overtakes from Brad Schumacher. And like you said, we do have Liam Talbot in behind. And Talbot, assuming the team have told him that he has a 15-second penalty, or maybe not, maybe they've left him to it. He's got plenty of pace in behind that Aston Martin. So it's a bit of a shame that he's got that 15-second penalty from that avoidable contact at turn 13. So Now the pressure has swung back to Elliott Shute. He's actually dropped off a little bit here from our race leader as Schumacher thinks about a move, knows that it's not going to work, and that has cost him as well.
And every little moment just gives a reprise to the leader from that pressure. Paul Lucitti only started racing in 2022 at state level in an Audi, and then he and Jaden Ojeda teamed up to win the Sydney 3-hour GT race last year, which was an outstanding job. But he says his career highlight was podium finishes in GT World Challenge, not winning. Imagine if they can get a victory.
I think we're just seeing the triple one go round.
Wow.
I just spotted that in the back of the previous shot, and I think he's still stuck there. Now, whether or not they'll just leave that, there is a single yellow waving. He hasn't made contact with the wall, but he is stuck in the gravel trap, I should say. So 2 minutes remaining plus a lap. Let's hope race control leave this green, because I'd love to see how this battle plays out. And there he is, stuck in the gravel wall. He's hit the wall, yep. So that's just out of turn 16, I beg your pardon. So just dropped it on the exit of 15. And this is the fight for second and third. So let's hopefully we can run green just for our sakes and the entertainment of what this battle could entail. And Brad Schumacher just getting...
Oh, Lucitti was wide. He was wide on the exit, and it's opened the door for Elliott Shute. He's got close, but Schumacher has got half a nose up the inside at turn 7 on the run down the hill. Every time there's an opening for Shute, Schumacher's there. Brock Feeney watching on. He's grinning externally. There's Ryan Wood. They'll be rivals next week. Right now, teammate Steve Brooks is just behind this group of cars, having been passed by Liam Talbot. 1 minute to go on the clock, so should be 2 laps left in this one.
He's pushing hard. He dropped a wheel slightly off the back of turn 12. And you've got to say, Lucitti, he's been doing an exceptional job out in front. And like we've touched on, it'd be a great story for that Realtor Mercedes to clinch the win. This is the closest he's been. So, can Schumacher get a run down here into turn 17? He'll need to do a die. He goes for it down the inside at turn 17. Not quite. It's not going to work. But can he get the run now? Oh, he's lost a little bit of ground.
Look at the Aston. Liam Talbot's brought into this now. He's got a 15-second penalty. I'm not entirely convinced they've told him that. And we've just had confirmation they have not told Talbot he has a penalty. They're just going to let him run. Could he inject himself into what is the championship battle? They just got across the line with a few seconds left, so there may yet be 2 laps left. We'll get confirmation of that for you too. 4 cars, 4 brands, locked together. Paul Lucitti in front, driving the best race in his very short career in GT World Challenge racing. Schumacher, when does the move happen? Is it there? Is there contact? It's so close.
He's running out of opportunities. There's a few spots he can do it. Crailsey, I'm thinking turn 1, turn 6, turn 17. They're the opportunities for him. So he needs to absolutely nail his driving, hit his marks. Don't worry about Talbot. I'm sure the team would have told him that Talbot's got a penalty as he runs wide there. A bit too hot in turn number 11. 44, so we're actually counting up now, so we're on our second last journey of the Ben Motorsport Park, which is the second of the 2 races here this weekend. How exciting has this finish been, Crailsey?
Well, it's come alive. The pros just sort of got themselves in position. It's like the early overs of day 3 of a test match. They were just blocking it out, ready just to position themselves for a day 5 flourish. This is it. This is where the Audi's been super strong. And we saw Brock Feeney try and launch a move down the inside of Jackson Evans yesterday. It was almost a carbon copy, just with the 2 different drivers.
He needs to get a good run out of here, Crailsey, so he can get that slipstream and that run down to turn 1. The problem is if you go for an overtake at 17 and it doesn't work, you lose so much ground. And this is probably the closest that he's been heading to turn number 1. What can he do in that Kelso electrical Audi?
1 lap remaining at the Ben Motorsport Park. Shute is aware he's in danger.
He's got to go for it.
Here's the move for Schumacher. Championship implications on the line. He gets it stopped, does he? Yes, he does, but Shute fights back. He goes around the outside at turn 2, but Schumacher's got the pass done. Liam Talbot plays into this as well. championship points, valuable championship points for Brad Schumacher. He's got past and Talbot up the inside at turn 5. That would have been bold, but Shute clings onto it. And meanwhile, a 0.5 margin turns into almost a second for Paul Lucchini. He's got about 3 Ks to hold on to this in the best drive of his brief racing career.
Lucchini's going to win this. This is going to be awesome for Lucchini, for Ojeda, for the team at Tigani Motorsport. While the two behind him were battling, that's just helped him etch a little bit of a buffer. It's a small mistake there for Brad Schumacher right when he least needs it. And let's just keep an eye on that, because he could be under threat here. No, I think he's going to be okay, but I think Brad Schumacher wouldn't have been able to sleep tonight if he didn't go for that move. And that was a great aggressive overtake into turn 1. Clean, no contact, got it done. And he's going to gain back a couple of championship points. But hey, this guy, what a drive.
The Juice did the job early, but it was Paul Lucchini who absorbed all the pressure from Ferrari and Audi and everyone that could be thrown at him. And in a perfect display of Pro-Am racing, the final race at the Bend has delivered a thriller, and it's a first-time GT World Challenge Australia sprint race win for Paul Lucchini and Jayden Ojeda. Mercedes-AMG are in the books in 2025, and what a way to do it.
Got Ojeda up on the good wall, he's hanging off it. He'll be wrapped for Paul. That's the main thing, I reckon. He'll be stoked that he gets to win. Look at Brad Schumacher, great sportsmanship there. Hand out the window with the thumbs up. That's really cool to see.
Here's Rene Gracie. Didn't get the win yesterday in the AM class, but does today, and will beat home James Kondouris, so 7th and 8th position outright. There are the 3 AM podium finishes across the line. Behind them will be, I am sure, a frustrated Stephen Wyatt after that contact with Liam Talbot. So he gets 15 seconds added to his race time. It's going to drop him to 6th position, I think, at the end. Here's Adrian Dietz in the beautiful Lamborghini Huracan GT3. That stunning livery. And celebrations, the Tigani team. And that's a nice touch. Marcus Scott from Team BRM, engineer from that squad, going down to congratulate the Tigani squad on a brilliant performance.
Oh, that's fantastic,
isn't it? And what a moment for Paul Lucchini to take all of the pressure and deliver as expertly as he did. What a great race too. How good's GT3 racing? So Mercedes-AMG, Audi and Ferrari on the podium. Liam Talbot's got a penalty coming, so we'll drop further down the leaderboard. That'll elevate Wood and Brooks, King and Zalua as well. Gracie wins the AM class. The Kondouris boys in 2nd. The race highlights. It took a while to build this second race here at the Bend, but boy oh boy, when it did, it was a delight. This was the start. It was busy, and Ojeda had the elbows out at turn 1 to fend off the Ferrari in a pack of about 4 charging Audi R8s, and then he just disappeared up the road.
Well, it was such an impressive start from this man, Alex Peroni, going from 6th to 3rd, and we were so excited to see what Mark Russell would have done behind the wheel, and it seems like some sort of electrical or sensor failure. They couldn't refire that car, unfortunately, so that eventually brought out the safety car. They left it there once the pit stop cycles and the sequence went through, and there was a change of position between the Kelso Audi and the Steve Brooks Audi. And look how emphatic Brock Feeney is cheering on his man, and this, well, we all know this move unfortunately wasn't on for Liam Talbot. Just a bit of desperation and frustration after he had his own off on the out lap, and then finally got the job done on the final lap of the race. Great exchange between these two. Look at Ryan Wood, Brock Feeney wrapped with that. And you know what? Who'd be wrapped with the performance? Jayden Ojeda with Paul Lucchini. What a drive, their first win of the year. Great win for Tigani Motorsport, for Lucchini. And look at the team, celebrations all around. And I love the fact that Brad Schumacher stuck his hand out the window and gave a thumbs up. That's great camaraderie and great sportsmanship from those two.
Well said, it really is. That is an extraordinary drive from Paul Lucchini. First win for Mercedes-AMG this year. It's their first sprint championship win. They won the Enduro Cup race last year at Sydney, as I said, 3-hour race, but this is different. This is a different kettle of fish, and if anything, the pressure on the AM driver component of the combinations is higher in the shorter 1-hour race, and boy oh boy did he deliver today. That was a huge drive. First win for Mercedes-AMG since that Sydney 3-hour race last year. and it will be the brand's 8th win in GT World Challenge Australia history. It's the first win in this format anyway for Tigani too.
Yeah, they won. Was it the 3-hour enduro?
They won the 3-hour, but they haven't won in the 1-hour race format. Jaden Ojada's first on the scene, as it should be, to congratulate his mate. And he started racing in 2022.
Hey boys, quick photo.
And the media want a piece of it. Absolutely, they should too. It's a great storyline. And, you know, we've been talking about the fact that they didn't impose the mandatory pit stop times today, Thomas, with the stuff that's going on behind the scenes with some of the technical investigations and the fact that yesterday's results weren't finalised. These guys didn't have any to serve anyway.
Correct.
And that's why they were so disappointed at the start of the race, because they thought they had a little advantage drawn away from them. Turns out they don't need it.
Correct. No, Lucchini didn't put a foot wrong. He had to control that restart. I mean, all the pressure, that's the one thing they wouldn't have wanted, knowing that there's no mandatory or no compensation times, is they literally got the safety car as the pit stop window closed. And Lucchini, great restart, didn't look back. I'm sure he looked in his mirrors once or twice, but controlled it from there. And while everyone behind him was scrapping, he just led out in front. And what a way to finish the weekend here at the Ben Motorsport Park, Crailsey.
26th different race winner in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS competition. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what he's got to say about that. Rusty?
He's in the midst of a scrum of people, Crailsey, rivals alike, who've all gone to congratulate him and say well done. And you are the first among them. That's a terrific story, isn't it, for Paul? And I think he felt when he spoke to one of our reporters pre-race, big pressure, and would he be able to deliver? He survived multiple attacks like that, didn't he?
Yeah, mate, he's completely, thoroughly deserved that race win, like far out. When I saw the safety car, I was like, he's going to have it cut out for him here. Obviously, all the quick AMs right in behind him. He's really deserved this race win, and he's just drove awesome. So it's good to see.
The roar from Tigani Autosport as the car crossed the line. I mean, it means so much. I mean, Mercedes AMG, great stuff, mate.
Yeah, like I said, our Mercedes AMG rocket was awesome for us today, and I think Paul can vouch for it as well. So the Tigani crew did an awesome job, and I'm just so stoked for this guy.
Taking a win is a very special thing, mate, but when your colleagues in this pit lane come and congratulate you, that says so much. Well done.
Yeah, no, it's, I can't really believe I've just done that, but no, it was a good drive. I felt like I drove well, and Jaden gave me the car up front, so no, it was about time, I think.
Tell us about surviving the pressure, because there was multiple things you had to deal with to get to this moment.
Yeah, I don't know. When I'm in the car, the pressure sort of goes. The last lap there was a bit of pressure, obviously, but hanging around this guy, you've always got pressure on you, to try to get better at what you're doing. So that was good.
That champagne is going to taste sweet. Enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations to both of you. Top effort here at the Ben Motorsport Park. Let's wander down to Renee Gracie, because if we can dive in here, we believe that is champion-elect for this class. Obviously, providing there's no penalties or anything in New Zealand. What a result for you in 2025.
Yeah, great year. I didn't really worry about the championship much up until the last few rounds. I just figured if I keep winning, I'll win it eventually. And that's what I did, so it's been good.
What about the crew here? Lots of, support from everyone. And Mark Griffith just said a little something to me. He didn't give me all the detail. He wouldn't tell me. He just said, you watch when we get to Hampton Down. So I don't know what's coming, but it sounds like there's something in the wind.
Yeah, something in the wind. Stay tuned. I think I've sort of proven myself as a competitive AM driver, so I think it's time to elevate that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. You should be immensely proud. Congratulations on what you did here on Sunday and in 2025 generally.
Thank you very much.
There you go, Renee Gracie. Let's wander over. Gary Higgins here. I don't know where Matt's got. He's coming. His first stint was pretty mighty against some quicker cars. He did a cracking job, didn't he?
Did an absolutely fantastic job keeping up with them. I know he wants to do harder, but great job.
It's been superb to have you guys back in the series. I know you talked yesterday about where you are kind of in the class structure and everything, but you've enjoyed it, haven't you?
I have absolutely had a ball. We just need more friends. If you can bring a few extras, that'd be great.
All right, here he is. Come on in and join us. What transformed in you at the beginning of that race? Because that was awesome.
No, Rusty, that's why I used to drive.
Well, you dug deep and you found it again. That's great.
Yeah, it's a shame because I let the Lambo through, which I think was Dean, and I just dropped off the train, and the car's in a straight line. We are down quite significantly on power. They pull a couple of car links, so you've got to try and make up for them spots. It's hard work, that car, let me tell you. I want an Evo too. But anyway, it was good to do and fun. So I actually enjoyed that part of it. I mean, that's sort of the best part about the weekend for me, so it's good.
Well, there is one more good part to enjoy. That's the podium. Head there now. Congratulations to you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty, and some celebrations there, and we'll bring you that podium very, very shortly. Don't leave our broadcast, by the way, on the screens of 7, because we've still got the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Australasia coming your way. Lots to see and do at the bend, whether it's just rolling down a grassy hill bank, watching from the side, or maybe cutting some laps over there on the go-karts. Always good fun. It's a ripper little go-kart track, actually, and the high karts are pretty decent. So, good stuff. And what a moment it is for Paul Lucitti. Didn't seem overly fired up, did he? Excited about it, but what a great performance. And under an enormous amount of pressure from one of the best AM drivers in the country, he was able to fend them off and delivered a victory, the first for Mercedes AMG this season, and the first of his career in this format especially. Anchored, of course, by the delights of Jayden Ojeda. He's the kind of guy you pay money to watch at a racetrack, because you never die wondering when he's on the racetrack. And he anchored that brilliantly at the start. He built that margin, and then the safety car was called. That dragged the gap back. It made it even more challenging for him. And then the bigger subplot from all of that was the fact that Brad Schumacher desperately needed to get past Elliott Chute and take just a few valuable championship points away from him. The final round awaits, but in the meantime, it's time for the podium. Let's celebrate the penultimate round of GT World Challenge Australia.
Welcome to the podium presentation for Race 2 of the 2025 GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS at GT Festival The Bend. Presenting the trophies today, Marcel Bode, Commercial Manager, Motorsport Pacific for Pirelli. Please welcome the top 3 placed cars for the Pro-Am class. In third place, for Arise Racing GT, Jackson Evans and Elliott Chute. In second place, for Kelso Electrical Team MPC, Brock Feeney and Brad Schumacher. In first place, for Realtor Tagani Motorsport, Jayden Ojeda and Paul Lucitti. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS Pro-Am winners. Drivers, the podium's yours. Congratulations. Now, please welcome the top 3 place cars for the AM class. In third place, for Black Wolf Motorsport, Ben Schutz and Shane Woodman. We'll get you up there now, gentlemen. Well done. In second place, for Superbarn Supermarkets, Tagani Motorsport, Theo Kondouris and James Kondouris. Theo and James couldn't be here, so representatives of the team will be up in their place. And in first place, for OnlyFans Team MPC, put your hands together for Renee Gracie. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS AM class winners. Drivers, the podium's yours. And Renee, don't go too far away. Renee Gracie, can you please come back up to the podium? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you can all please put your hands together for our 2025 GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS AM class champion from OnlyFans Team MPC, Renee Gracie. Finally, please welcome the winners for the trophy class. Your winner from KFC Team MPC, Matthew Stupas and Gary Higgin. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS trophy class winners. Gentlemen, the podium's yours.
Well, the celebrations for GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS, their final round at Hampton Downs at the end of October, early November. Can't wait for that. And well done to Renee Gracie for wrapping up the AM class title. Still so much more to come your way this afternoon from Shell V-Power Motorsport Park at the Bend. The Ferraris are on track next.